It's time.
Welcome to the show. Chrissie
Wow.
Mayr surviving the pandemic by podcasting repeatedly every day.
Surviving. Yeah. We're gonna get through this.
So you were telling me before we even started recording, just about the podcast that you're doing. You're learning Zoom because of this. What do you think right now? If this happened, this is what I was telling you before. If this happened 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you think we'd all be fucked?
It's interesting because it's like different people are gonna be fucked by this, but then some people are gonna evolve and thrive and pivot. And I mean, it really it depends like what you decide to do with it, you know? Because if you're like a stand-up comic, like you do stand-up too, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. And if you're just like, well, I can't get on stage, I guess I'm just gonna sit here and wait with my thumb up my ass. Well, then you're screwed. And if you're just like used to, maybe you're just an old road dog, maybe your social media is not really on point. You haven't really been, I don't know, it's kind of adjusting to like the new like social media platforms. Well, then you're gonna come to like I think a screeching halt. But if you've been like steady all along, pretty decent on social media, you've been podcasting, then I think you're going to be okay because your fans kind of know where to find you. And I think it's the people that are like adjusting and, filling in the gaps during this quarantine time, like boosting their YouTube or boosting their videos and podcasts and stuff. That way you're still keeping loose, you're still keeping sharp and talking to people and keeping those sort of like funny muscles warm. Then I think you have a better shot because once we start being able to perform again, like your fans will be like, oh yeah, we've been sort of seeing and hearing from you this whole time. Now we're really excited to go like see her live. And hopefully I remember my routine.
Yeah, I've been thinking about being rusty when we get back. I was wondering, do I need a couple of weeks to get back into it? I think it's like riding a bike though. I think a couple of minutes on stage, you're like, oh yeah, fuck, this is what I do. This is me. And then we'll get back into it. I know that like we jumped on that your podcast just 2 days ago with everyone. Are you liking having a lot of people like a kind of the classroom setting like on Zoom? Because when we did it, it was like 9 people. How many were we?
It was different than what I usually do. That was like the special like never have I ever group fun chats, and I just do those to like throw something fluffy in there, something kind of like brainless that you can just watch and drink along to. And it's kind of low stakes. So if I have like some girls that are porn stars or girls that are cam girls that aren't, that might be like intimidated by like a lot of talking, and it's so tricky though, because like I feel like a lot of people when they get thrown into like a big group podcast like that, like they kind of shrink and they're like, because it's all about like, I don't know. It's like kind of running into a double dutch, like you have to just be kind of brave. And it seems like sometimes like my buddies that are porn stars, they don't always feel like super it's a little intimidating for them, but I like having these group situations so that it's like not the pressure's not all on one person. You can kind of like get your joke in, get out, and like just have a good time. And it's more content really, it's fun. You can see a bunch of people. But what I usually do for Wet Spot is, we would try Zooming in or Skyping in to Compound. We did that a few times. But now we've been doing like just Zooms of, I think like 4 of us. So like me and my sidekick, Mike Figs. And then we would have like 2 guests. In the last 3 or 4 weeks or so, we've been discussing like this not March Madness, but like quarantine madness, sexual activity bracket. And every week people can vote for their favorite ones. And there were a lot of upsets, like kissing was eliminated immediately, which broke my heart. I was like, wow, there's a lot of men voting, I think. And I thought masturbation would take it all the way, but then that was voted out the second round, and I was like, I don't even know anything anymore, and now it looks like probably blowjob will win. And so the usual Wet Spot like Zoom shows have been 4 people, and then like once a week I'll do these like group, some kind of a game, right? It's probably after the last Never Have I Ever, I might switch to like, I don't know, maybe we'll play like Cards Against Humanity if that's possible. We'll play some kind of fun group game. And then the other couple of days, like I just figured this out like last week or so, like, oh, why don't I try to put content out every day, So it's like Wet Spot Mondays, a one-on-one interview Tuesday and Thursday, maybe Saturday. and then Wednesday is like a group thing. So I'm hoping if I can like keep that up for as long as I can,
it's the smartest
I'll feel
thing.
productive.
I've been doing the same thing, just trying to feel productive. As soon as it started, I realized I was working more than before, because as soon as stand-up was eliminated, I was like, look, I have no excuse. It's not like I have to be anywhere at night. Record. Yeah. So I started up a Patreon, putting more stuff out, editing videos.
What's on your Patreon? Any nudes?
So, no, it's not like an OnlyFans, not yet, but we might get there. Who the fuck knows where this goes? I like to put stuff up live and early for patrons, and I give out a lot of shirts. So basically, I buy a bunch of shirts, and then I just pick winners every month, and I give them out. The goal is to get everyone who is on Patreon to have our merch. So it's a cool way. It's kind of like, they're paying for subscription, but in the end, you get merch. So, and then I think it helps with marketing, because then you're walking around outside, you're wearing a shirt of a podcast. Someone's like, hey, what the fuck is that? Who are those guys? It's like, oh, it's 2 Drink Minimum. It's Pantelis, or it's Mike. It's this. And then you get some more fans. Because some people don't know how to do it properly, how to market. Like, I saw people mad at Joe Rogan for signing that Spotify deal.
Why would they be mad at him for making $100 million? No,
anything you see, 100 million, yeah. Oh, 100 million.
It's 100 million? Jesus Christ.
And that's on the lower end. But for the sellout and all that stuff they're saying is because they're buffoons, and there's a jealousy aspect to it. First of all, they don't understand the work. They don't understand.
Oh my
God! Over
God.
10 years of podcasting. How he's
not sick of himself, Rogan. He's talking like 4 hours a day.
Now he's able to. He first of all, he's going to change the game up, and this helped everyone. This helped everyone who's doing a podcast, and they don't fucking see it because it's set a price point. Podcasts weren't taken seriously a couple of years ago. Right? Then Joe Rogan started to make them a bigger and bigger thing. They started to be taken a bit more serious. He was making money. We were able all to start advertising. Now that he set that price point, that's the higher end. It just shows that there's value in it. That means that, oh shit, if someone's willing to invest this much, there's something to it. There's something to podcasts, or something to the fans of podcasts, how far they're willing to go for advertisers, like if they like the product more than if they'd see it on TV. So it helped everyone to be able to have negotiating power. But a lot of people didn't realize it, so they're writing like, oh, what the fuck's he doing? Why would he go? Just idiots. And also, YouTube kept trying to censor shit. He could do whatever he wants. Oh, God.
Yeah, I've been left and right. You've been seeing YouTube take shit away. Like Out of Shadows that had 11 million views. You can't even find it in a search. It's like that documentary about the guy that worked in Hollywood for like 20 years as a stunt double and all the crazy shit he saw. Did you see that at all?
I don't remember if I saw Out of the Shadows, but I've been watching a lot of those because Poseidon and a lot of the fans, they send me messages of like all these conspiracy videos, and some are really good, but also Tinfoil Hat. Fucking Sam Tripoli keeps getting fucked over.
He gets fucked over left and right. But hopefully, like, I think it will inspire people. Like, you already see it happening with BitChute, and it seems like every day I'm hearing about another social media platform that's like, oh, this one's just for cops who go to like hear something positive instead of like constantly being bombarded with like cops fucking suck messages, which is all you see from the mainstream media. So it's really encouraging to see that these new like grassroots, social media platforms are popping up, and hopefully that's what I love about Compound Media. It's like they are, free speech. It's great. It's great to work for a place where you're like, wow, I actually like can't get canceled because some dipshit like doesn't like one of my jokes, Yeah,
and I think he's setting a good precedent for all of us, because Spotify isn't just some random app, right? They're the biggest audio platform around, and the fact that they're adding video now, it's gonna open the doors for a lot of people. So
adding video, wow.
Yeah, he's taking the video one there too. It's gonna become all exclusive, which is gonna open the door to other podcasts to have their. It's gonna. People are saying, oh, is it gonna fuck over YouTube? It's not about YouTube. It's just about a company willing to invest in top talent and quality people.
Yeah.
Like, let's say him.
He clearly is. So what you're saying, Pantelis, is now that Joe Rogan has his price is $100 million, what you're saying is that you and I can then sell our podcast for like $98, $99 million.
Probably not even anywhere close. However, it does mean that you have a price now. So you have a value in the market. He created this for us. So, but there's a lot of stuff that he does that people kind of take for granted. They don't realize. He also legitimized a lot of like comedians' podcasts. The fact that he had his, and then he's got guests on, and then you go like, oh fuck, he was on Joe Rogan. There's probably something good about this guy.
Yeah, and everyone loves to, people like to not take comedians seriously. Oh, never get your news from comedians. And also like loving to cancel them if they say something that they don't agree with. But yeah, like Joe's like, he's not trying to be funny on his podcast. He's serious.
From Elon Musk to Bernie Sanders.
Edward Snowden. Yeah, he's like getting really incredible guests. And I met him when I was out in LA, and I was like, wow, at the Comedy Store, like in the back bar area. And I was just like, but he didn't seem like cocky or arrogant. Like he still feels like a real dude, like he didn't have that like arrogant energy that you sometimes get when you meet, celebrities.
Well, when me and Mike were on, I remember he didn't which is crazy because it doesn't get to that. He didn't realize the impact that he had with a lot of stuff, like the bringing up the joke thieving thing and how it helped a lot of people kind of fight back against joke thieves in their cities. And he didn't even realize the impact that he had on doing that stuff. He just does his show and then fucks off. That's what I'm saying. You got to realize what people are doing for you, even if they're not doing it on purpose. And right now for podcasts, if you're a professional, I mean, obviously if people are just, I don't know, recording with 3 friends for themselves, that's a different story. But professional podcasts, like you're doing a professional podcast, we have a professional podcast. It opens the door for us.
I was going to ask you if I was professional or not, because I can't tell.
Well, I think the second you have equipment, you have a fan base, and you're consistent, you could start selling it, right?
So the moment I waited in Target for an hour for this microphone outside in the Bronx in the rain, then I became a professional podcaster.
I think, as soon as people are willing to pay for your shit, you're a professional, right? With anything, like say stand-up. You're an open micer up until someone wants to book you and people are willing to pay to see you. And then even at that, as a comic, we're always neurotic, so we never feel good about it. It takes a while before you're comfortable. But with podcasting, for the full decade I was doing it before Mike, I wasn't a professional podcaster. But that experience obviously helped when we were able to monetize with Mike and all that. But right now, there's a lot of people who are coming in late. There's a lot of comics who are sending me messages. Hey, how do I set things up? What kind of microphone should I get?
Oh my God.
How do
that's like a Google. Come on,
That's what I say. Guys, I can't just give you everything. Just go to Google and ask me if you have specific things that don't work. But also, you're doing this because you see everyone's inside now. It's a little too late because it's saturated. It's a saturated market. People have their fan bases. You're going to jump in out of nowhere. How are people going to discover you? You don't have fans as a stand-up. How are people going to find you?
Would you consider Compound Media like those to be podcasts, even though they're on camera?
They're definitely still podcasts. It's very weird with Compound because I think it's something, all the networks, I think it's something more. Even all the Gas Digital stuff. Yeah, it's all called podcasts, but there's a greater power to them. The fact that you have the network, the fact that you can help other shows on the platform get discovered. So someone goes to Compound because let's say they're like, oh, I want to check out 2 Drink Minimum. And then they're on there and like, what the fuck is Wet Spot? And then you just gained a follower. Like, oh, fuck, I like this. Who is this? I never heard of this. Anthony Cumia?
That is what's nice. And I know that like Bill Schultz on Morning, like he'll watch my show and he'll pick up a lot of my guests. Just because like I bring in a lot of new people to the network.
You cross-pollinate.
I started doing improv in New York City in 2006 and then started stand-up in 2010, 2011. So it's like I've been banging around for so many years. I feel like I know so many people. So it's good. I feel like I can help. It makes me feel good to like help people out in that way. Like, yes, please, like book the people that I've booked and like let's like share the wealth. But like Morning is fun. It's like they're just like a big warm hug, like Joanne and Bill, like they're the sweetest people.
Oh yeah, the only person we're missing right now is Mr. Brennan.
Oh yes, yeah.
God damn it, man! I'm a Kevin Brennan fan. He makes me laugh because he's a fucking rebel. But yeah, it's just it helps with everyone because you discover shows. Even when we got on the network, me and Mike, I discovered people from there that I hadn't heard of. Oh yeah. Like I didn't know Gino, for example, until I got onto Compound, and I fucking love Gino. So it's just
Gino's the best.
Yeah, you learn about new people, and it's the same thing with fans, same thing with people that subscribe. You cross pollinate and you grow. So only thing that's missing now is I guess advertising. I think a lot of the networks, let's say Gas, Compound, they might start putting a bit of money to advertise other places. People see it, they're like, "What is this? Let me sign up." But apart from that, you put in the effort, it starts growing. It's bigger to have a network. It helps a lot more with the pod. Because imagine now if you were starting with no Compound, no connections to anyone. How do you break out nowadays when there's so many podcasts? You're gonna get buried.
Yeah. I worry about that. I'm like, is it like too many podcasts, too many voices? Like, you're always kind of insecure as like a comic, and it's like, oh, is anybody even really listening to my shit? Like, because I know like I'm not the best interviewer, but like I put my own like personal touch on it, and yeah.
I think it's if people obviously like you have your fans, but I mean, I think, look, everyone does it a little differently. I think once you get because you have your own voice, and the people that like that voice, they're gonna like it as long as you stay true to it, no matter what. So whether you're interviewing a comedian or a politician, if you're always Chrissie, if I'm always Pantelis, that's why they tune in.
That's true. That's true, because I was interviewing Larry Sharpe, who was he's a politician. He doesn't seem like it. He seems just like a buddy. He was the libertarian candidate for governor of New York a couple of years ago. But like, we're buddies, we're friends. Like, I remember I was in like Grand Central Terminal holding a sign, and I never gave a fuck about any politician before meeting him, and I was like, I guess I'm a libertarian. Like, this guy makes a lot of sense. But I had him on, and he was talking about all the ways in which Cuomo has fucked up in New York City and what he would have done differently to like just make all the coronavirus stuff go a bit smoother. Like, you know, he said some really fascinating shit. He was like, yeah, anybody with a 3D printer, I would go ahead and like give them the okay to start printing ventilators and printing tests and stuff. And I was like,
can you do that shit?
I didn't even think of that. I was like, that's brilliant. Yeah. And then I was definitely, like you said, you know, still being myself, like still making dick jokes and still like, you know, like jumping in there with like puns and stuff. So even though he was like a kind of a serious dude, you know, I was still like me.
Are you booking anything? Are you trying to speak to clubs and see whoever opens up first, maybe jump in there, or are you still a little nervous?
I am not nervous. Not that I don't give a fuck, but like I know that the virus has been so overhyped that it's like it's nowhere near like worth people being as nervous about it as they are.
Yeah.
And like you hear different things like clubs are going to start putting like a plastic shield between the comics and the audience, like they're a buffet and I'm like a greasy homeless man. Like I'm going to cough into the audience. I don't want to wear a mask on stage. Like I would hope that the audiences don't have to wear masks, but it's like better they see my face and me emoting than like them, you know, like how you're going to muffle, you're going to laugh into a mask. Like
I want audiences to wear masks based on their level of attractiveness. If they're ugly, put a fucking mask on. Everyone else,
and you know
mask off.
We'll just sit you in the back.
See in the back. We'll put a goblin mask on you.
I'm not worried at all. I think what I'll probably do first is reach out to the places where I had gigs booked, like from March through May, and be like, see if their state is starting to open up again and see about rescheduling. But it will be really interesting because I know that I'll be performing at states. Like I'll be going out of state traveling to perform before New York is even like up and running again. So it's almost going to be like exclusively road gigs for a while.
Yeah, I have us. It's weird here. Like, let's say out of Montreal, they kind of locked down the regions. They said if you're from Montreal, which is the epicenter in Canada right now of COVID-19, you're not allowed to go to certain regions. So I had like gigs booked all around, and I was talking to my guy who books all that for me yesterday, and he's like, they're kind of nervous because I was asking, hey, people are going out, should we start booking for the fall? He's like, no one's going to reply to anything. They're all scared. They don't know what they're doing.
Jesus.
I was like, fuck, man, it's going to be last minute. So let's say in the fall we start booking for a few months later. Does that mean that I won't be able to make money being on stage till 2021?
Ugh. And how many cases do you really have in Montreal? Like 40?
No, we have, I think, a couple of thousand. It's just the way they're so half the people that died were in old folks' homes that we didn't take care of. Like there's one old folks' home that's maybe a 10-minute drive from here, 100% infection rate. We're talking about the staff they sent in the military, 100% infection rate. And
wow,
they didn't take care of these fucking old people. So the people that are at risk weren't taken care of, right? So they're driving.
You know what it is? Because they're already barely taking care of old people.
That's what we got to discover.
They're already negligent.
Yeah.
So it's like they're not going to just suddenly be good when there's an outbreak of something.
It brought a lot of shit to light. I was saying the same thing last week. I said, well, now at least we know that. Because there was one guy that got arrested 2 weeks ago. We were talking about on 2-drink minimum. He was beating up and raping like women. He was like an orderly or some shit. He worked there. These are old ladies. So
okay,
and it's not a
maybe
new
they
thing.
needed it. Maybe they needed a good boning. You know, it's probably been several presidencies.
They were so seductive in their old age, but it's just crazy.
I haven't had sex since Kennedy.
But that wouldn't be rape then. But he was out there raping, beating people up. And
that's terrible.
It brings it to light.
A man who worked at the nursing home.
Yeah, he works at the nursing home. So you see this, you're like, what the fuck's been happening in these goddamn places? It's not the coronavirus's fault. This is bringing to light the fact that we haven't taken care of the most vulnerable. And then we have the audacity to be like a healthy person that could work or could help in society. No, you fucking stay home. It doesn't make sense.
And then there's people who are like genuinely have like whipped themselves up into like a fearful tizzy of, because they're just watching mainstream media. They truly believe their risk is higher than it is. They're afraid to go back to work. And then there's people who are like sucking the tit of the government. They're like, we want to keep these sweet ass stimulus checks coming. There's a lot of people that are making more now with the checks, the government checks, than they were at their job. So it's like, why the fuck would they want to go back to work? They're gonna be like, then they like pretend they're scared to go back to work. So it's like, but we've allowed this to happen. Like we've created a situation in which people can claim that they're too scared to go back to work, and it's like we've let it happen.
It's fucked up because there's I even saw open micers. I saw an open micer put up a post and I was like, oof, that's why you're not gonna become professional.
What did it say?
He wrote, I want things to go back to the way they were. And I was like, all right, but I want to keep collecting the unemployment rate. I was like, yeah, that's why. The fact that you're not willing to work at it and struggle and do it, that's why you're not gonna make it. Like it's
this not going to work thing is great. Yeah, it's like I've been unemployed. I've had like 15 different day jobs like over the course of just like from college to now. And the times that I've been unemployed and collecting unemployment, it's like it's more stress to be on unemployment and like collecting. And it's also like you feel like a useless person. It's like you get depressed. It's like you just feel like you're like, wow, I was born into this consciousness, into this body at this time with these talents, and really all I'm gonna do is just like sit at home and collect a check. Like what a fucking waste, you know?
I feel the same way. I can't do that.
Mad.
I'd rather just work and try my best to make money, off my skills, than to sit around. First of all, you can't accomplish anything if you like all the. I don't know. Do you not have dreams? You know what I mean? Like I have dreams.
A lot of people don't.
That's what I think it might be. Like if you don't have dreams, you just want to sit there, jerk off, and eat cheese. Maybe.
I mean, that's great for a couple days.
Yeah, but not a lifetime.
You know, you get a lot of cheese, and it's like you're not gonna be able to go to the bathroom. And
a lot of mozzarella.
You're gonna run out of jizz, and you're not gonna be able to shit. So,
I don't know what it is, but I'm looking forward to fucking shit opening up again, so I could come back down there. The May thing would have been so much fun because we would have had stand up, we would have done some podcasts, go to the studio at Compound and bring like you guys in. We wanted to do like a little bring in people from Compound as guests on 2 Drink Minimum just to do like a kind of crossover event.
Oh, cool.
And none of that, like everything just went to shit. I don't. So you're not scared. You're taking it kind of like I guess you should taking precautions.
Me and my boyfriend, like we have spent so much of this quarantine like going down like Q rabbit holes and learning about the deep state and watching the Fall Cabal series on YouTube.
Well, that show drives me crazy too. It's too much.
Learning about like how Bill Gates basically like paid some dude to like make and then mutate these coronaviruses in a lab in Wuhan, like with the express intent of killing off a bunch of people because he's got a whole like depopulation agenda.
But it's not just him. He's not the only one investing. The Canadian government invested in that lab. I think Fauci was investing. Like a lot of people did. So here's the weird. This is the weird thing is the stuff that we know that are facts is we know that well, there's probably other people, but I know that Bill Gates, Fauci, they have those patents for anything
they've patented these viruses.
So any antivirus that comes from you need the virus to do it, so you have to pay them for. So yes, they're gonna make money off everyone getting injected off it. That's true. However, I don't know if we could prove this. This is where the conspiracy gets in. So people are putting just 2 and 2 together, and they're assuming that because they're gonna make money off the vaccine, they purposely infected the world so that they could make money. But we don't know that part happened. It seems to me like because it's spread, they're like, yo, opportunity to make money, patent that shit. So that's because the other one is
multifaceted, right?
It's a big leap.
Like, yeah, they're gonna make money, and maybe they're in bed with like big sanitizer and Clorox.
But I don't think they would do it on purpose because you can't control it. What if it would kill their family? You know what I mean? It's something so.
Right.
I think they just capitalized. They saw an opportunity, like people who bought foreclosed homes.
For this virus to be way, 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 way deadlier. I think they intended. So if you look at like Gates's event 201 event, which he had, which was like an exact simulation of like the coronavirus outbreak on the world, right? Way more people died. It was like I think they wanted like millions to die.
Did they want it, or were they just like thinking what if it happens?
They expected it, like he expected it, right? And then the virus, like once it got into people, it kind of mutated in a way which made it less deadly. And like Gates is already in trouble. Like he has like he had a lot of virus testing done in Africa and India, and like they a lot of these countries like won't let him back anymore. Like they've totally outlawed his vaccines.
He used them as guinea pigs.
And India, like so many kids were like born deformed, and like Africa, so many women were sterilized. And then finally, like whatever it was, like the Catholic Church in Africa tested these vaccines from Gates, and they found that there was like legit sterilization chemicals in these vaccines.
Where did you see this? I want to look up. Where the fuck did you see this? This is interesting.
I can definitely send you some articles, but
send me articles and links because it makes me curious. Because it's very hard for me now because I get so much shit sent to me
out there. And it's so fucking crazy.
And there's so much bullshit in it too. I don't know what. Like, I'm like, I can't. To me, then everything becomes bullshit.
You don't want to believe that someone is actually doing these things, but he like intentionally sterilized these women in Africa, and like in India, like a lot of these kids are like paralyzed, deformed, and a lot of countries won't even let his vaccines in anymore. And it's like, it's all under the guise of like helping and global health. And it's like, oh, it's the WHO organization. Like Gates basically,
he's blaming a goddamn band.
He funds such a big part of the WHO, and America was like Trump was like, fuck, we're not going to fund these guys anymore. Like they're corrupt. And then like China rolls and they're like, oh, we'll help fund you guys. And then,
well, yeah, because they helped China. They lied. Yeah. They had that. So in the beginning, a thing we should mention so people know, because some people still trust, because they're the World Health Organization. So the reason why Trump and a lot of other leaders now in Italy, why they're pissed at them is because in the beginning, when China was basically lying about the numbers, they were saying you can't catch it can't spread from human to human. They refused to put out the stats that their scientists said. They just spewed what China was telling them. So like, yeah, there's no problem. Don't worry. There's no proof it could spread from human to human. And it fucking spread. All right. They were just spewing China's propaganda. And then when people were asking for the real numbers from China, the WHO again was pushing China's propaganda. That's why Trump and a lot of people were pissed because what is your job? Is your job to be the health propaganda department of China? Or are you for world health? Because right now all you're doing is spewing Chinese nonsense, and you're not looking at it
Chinese
objectively.
Nonsense. No, that sounds like something you could order off a menu.
Yeah, Chinese. So I understand why people would want to defund it and be mad because you're not doing your job. You're not doing what you said you're gonna do. So if we can't trust you, and then I remember the guy, the Ethiopian guy who's the head of that, who always speaks on TV. He tweeted, he goes, "It's time for forgiveness," or we should think like they wanted to be forgiven for fucking the world up and spreading this. No, there's things that we can forgive because you were in a position of power that you could have helped, and you were scared of China. So that I understand why people wouldn't trust them.
We have been licking China's asshole in so many different ways. Like Hollywood is so in cahoots with China. Like just the example, I was talking about this with Kurt Metzger the other day. He was doing my show, and it's like, use the example of like Doctor Strange. Have you seen that movie?
Yep.
So Tilda Swinton's character, the Ancient One, actually, if you go back and like the actual like story, like I guess comic book story, it's supposed to be a Tibetan monk. And since China fucking hates Tibet and they're so racist, they're like, yeah, we don't want, like, our audiences are not gonna want to acknowledge like a Tibetan superhero, basically. And so that's why they cast like a white lady to be the Ancient One. And that's just one really fascinating example of how, like, you'd never think like Hollywood and China are in cahoots.
Well, it's a billion people, right? There's a huge market for,
and they love
going to the movies,
the films. Yeah.
So, and I know this from other movies. I remember because I watch a lot of the like directors' commentaries and behind the scenes stuff. I love that kind of shit. And we had to shoot a lot of this. Like they'll add Chinese characters and scenes in China. Normally the blockbusters do this, like a lot of explosion scenes. There's no reason for the story to take place in China for 40 minutes or for 20 minutes, but they'll just make it where like, yeah, we got to fly to China for something. Just because they know that the Chinese government's gonna be like, fuck yeah, we're gonna go for that. Yeah, it's showing China in a nice light. So it is crazy. On the other hand, you're gonna say they're a business. They want to make money.
Of course.
There's $1 billion sitting on the fucking table. They're not gonna take it. So it is that too. I mean, is that worse or what the military does when they'll pay movies to show the military in a good light? And if you want to use these weapons and show these ships and get access to this, well, then you got to say that this war was just, and show like Transformers would do that in a lot of movies. So everybody does it. Everybody does it. And in the end, Hollywood does it just to make money or to get access. So it's I'm not saying it's right, but it's widespread. We're just picking on the Chinese thing now because they fucked us. But everyone's doing it.
Yeah. And there were a lot of other like great examples of this, I think, in that like Fall Cabal series on YouTube. And I think possibly also in Out of Shadows. And all this is so new to me. Like I did Tripoli's podcast when I was in LA in March, and I would just hear him like, talking about like Tom Hanks is a pedophile. Tom Hanks is a pedophile. Really, really? And then it's like, I don't know, just clicked, and then like a lot of these things started to fall into place, and I just was like,
But is
oh
he a pedophile?
wow,
The
like
Tom Hanks thing I thought was just a joke.
uh yes and no. I mean, like, some circles believe he's dead. Some people think he's really involved in this huge pedophile ring with like Spielberg and Epstein, and like, he's on the flight list, Epstein's flight list.
Everyone
like,
was on that fucking flight list.
Not everyone. We're not on
it. Your name is gonna be right on one of those lists. God damn it, Chrissie.
Anybody who's anybody is on Epstein's flight log. Yeah.
I know that Fall Cabal fucked up. Poseidon, our third mic.
Yeah.
Oh, it fucked him up because he was never aware of and he started getting deep into this conspiracy. I told him you got to take everything with a grain of salt.
You got to take it slow too. You can't like watch it all in a couple days.
He did it all in one night.
Woo.
And I just wake up to messages the next day, and he's like, "These fucking child molesters! What the fuck? Trudeau's hanging out with child molesters," and he's just freaking out. I go, dude, you gotta calm the fuck down.
Calm down.
Yeah,
it's been going on forever.
Yeah, and also analyze it too, because you're mixing everything up, in one package, and you think everyone's out to rape you. Just calm the fuck down. So it fucked him up. It completely fucked him. And now he's very weary. Everything he sees, he's like, these goddamn child molesters. He's very weary of Hollywood and politicians because that whole thing.
As he should be, as everyone
he should be, but we also have to be
on a pedestal for fucking ever. I remember I was up late one night watching. Like, I was actually actively trying to find Hillary Clinton's frazzle drip video. Like, I was like, I want to see her eat some girl's face. I was like, it's the most fucked up shit that's out there. It's all like dark web stuff. She, I suppose that's the whole thing is like, right. So it's this video of her and her assistant at the time, Huma. And she's out in the woods. There's like these like satanic rituals, right? Which involve like going out into the woods.
Bohemian Grove type shit.
What?
Bohemian Grove type of stuff.
Yeah, like really like actual Satan shit. And apparently they like cut the face off of like some kid or some little girl, and then like Hillary like takes it off and then wears it on her face.
There's no way that's fucking real, Chris.
And I was like, I have to see this, because I saw the video Podesta. It's like him at Cosmic Pizza.
Yeah, I saw that shit.
In DC. It's him during like one of these like raves, and he's like screaming at some kid, like call me your daddy or whatever. And it's like they do the vocal analyzations of him, and it's like a perfect match, I
don't know. I think a lot of this shit is far fetched.
It definitely seems far fetched until you start like slowly connecting them, and you're like, oh God, yeah. Why would there be so many tens of thousands of emails deleted?
I agree.
There's all good.
There's a lot of weird shit, and I saw that email to Obama about the hot dogs and him having that late night party. And we're gonna get in trouble. We should do it at the designated location. All that shit. All that shit suspicious. Deleting those emails. All that stuff. I agree is super suspicious. But I don't want to jump right away to like, let's say Tom Hanks now. They're saying that he probably lied about having the coronavirus, all that. Okay, so let's say he lied about that, right? Let's say he was paid from the WHO or whatever they say. Right. I don't know how, if he lied about that, which he may have, that translates to he's a child molester. Do you know what I mean? Like people are saying
like
the WHO has him because he's a child molester.
Different things.
Yeah, they're all. I don't like those leaps because then you kind of lose the argument because you fall into that world of just. The whole point is we're supposed to be counterculture, right? We're not supposed to accept everything the government tells us or the media. We're kind of fighting it. So we also can't accept everything that a conspiracy video tells us either, because we still got to be us. We have to be counter. We're the rock and roll of this generation, right? It's comedians. We got to still analyze and be like, I don't fucking know. I don't trust that. Let me look into it. So we fell into the trap that we hate the establishment so much that we'll believe anything that goes against them. Because I fall for it too.
That's true. And you don't want to just like believe it all. But it's like, it's kind of like the more you research, like, have you seen any of like Isaac Cappy's stuff? Like Isaac Cappy was an actor in Hollywood. He's friends with Seth Green. He was in like a few movies. And then he had this like kind of famous last Periscope where he outed Spielberg as a pedophile, Stephen Colbert as a pedophile, like talking about all this stuff. He said he was in like Seth Green's house, and Seth Green was like, "Oh, this is where we keep the children." And they moved a bookshelf away, and then it was like this underground dungeon, right? And then like Cappy was like fucking murdered like the next day or two on a highway. Like just he like
Wait, Seth
suicided
Green, the
himself.
short guy?
Yeah, Seth Green, the short guy from Can't Hardly Wait, like with the
Yeah,
red hair.
yeah.
Isaac Cappy, they were like buds. And you can still find like on YouTube like his last couple periscopes where he's outing all these people as pedophiles, and he's like, "Yep, sorry, I got to do it. Like, oh, I've just been working with them for too long and it really bothers me."
Well, I
And
know
then
that there's a lot
just
of I've seen enough to know that there are a lot of pedophiles in Hollywood, and people come out and talk about it. Even remember when what's his name, Corey Feldman was talking about it, and then like Elijah
yes,
Wood
yeah,
came out and said there's a problem. I think
Corey Haim,
Robert
yeah.
Downey Jr. came out and said, yeah. Brad Pitt also said, yeah, they're weirdos. There's a lot of Mel Gibson, like a lot of people came out and say these people are fucked up. So
Yeah, they tried to like blackball Mel Gibson after
well, he
came
also
out.
he also went
He
crazy
also
and started saying "fuck the Jews," and so I think a lot of what he did fucked with him. It wasn't just it wasn't just a one thing.
yeah.
Yeah, because he went on. But it doesn't mean he's wrong. Again, it doesn't mean that because he
Exactly.
was angry about one thing doesn't mean that they're not. But I do from what I know, a lot of fucking pedophiles. Like
A lot.
and Disney
And
had a lot of them.
I think the way they get like other people in is like, and they've also discovered all these like underground tunnels at like the Bunny Ranch at like the Playboy Mansion, right? And like so there's rumored like that's like how they would get sort of kids up into the Playboy Mansion. So right, like all these celebrities there, Hugh Hefner, and I think the way they get there's of course like there's always gonna be people that are just like natural fucking pedophiles, right?
Yeah.
And then there's people that are like, oh, like you're hooking up with a chick, oh, and then they introduce some guy to like a 16-year-old chick, and then maybe now there's a 10-year-old chick, and now they're like taking photos, and now they've got you by the balls, right, for the rest of your life.
Because if those photos get leaked, you look like a pedophile.
Photo or video of you with a chick who's underage or doing anything kind of fucked up. Like you may not be all the way into it, but just like, oh, this is what I have to do to like network and further my career. But then they've got you, and then you're kind of their bitch for your forever.
The blackmail thing, it's fun that you bring that up because that's 100%. They do it in a lot of these fraternities. They get you on record saying crazy shit. Like they'll ask you for secrets. Sometimes they'll blow each other. And they'll have it's true, and they'll have a video of it. And then in the future, these are all kids that gain a lot of power, right? They're all sons of politicians and stuff like that.
Wow.
So then when they put into positions, they help each other. And then if one guy's like, "Nah, I'm gonna do this. It's better for me," they're like, "Really?" Because I have a video of you sucking Steve's dick, and it's fucking crazy.
And you didn't swallow.
Yeah,
How rude.
You just put all over your face. And what's crazy is that they act like they're buddies. But the only reason why they're connected, why they go up together, is because one has dirt on the other, has dirt on the other, has dirt on the other, and it's like a domino effect. That's a fucking weird way to live.
Yeah.
Like you sleep
like,
at night.
Who are
you're
your real actual friends? And it's
that's
like,
why you can't trust anyone.
You're like trapped at the top, right? Because it's like you don't want to ruin your career. You don't want to be like blackballed.
And who do you trust, right? At that point, like even if you meet a new friend, you're like, wait, is this a setup? Like, is this someone you can't imagine? I'm not saying they're good people. They're clearly fucked up too. But imagine even on their side, they can't be happy 24/7 either because they're always thinking like, wait a second, is this a fucking trick? Steve's mad at me. Is he gonna put out that fucking video of me sucking his dick?
Oh,
like it's just
I can't imagine like that level of paranoia. Yeah, like there's awful shit on you.
And you did on purpose to get into a club.
Which is why it was so great to hear Ricky Gervais just totally rag on everybody.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah.
Like, he's like, shut up. You're all friends with him. You're all friends with Harvey Weinstein. You're all friends with Epstein,
The Epstein thing, are you guys still talking about it? Is that we kind of got no closure?
No, not really. It's part of the web, right? But
well, there's no closure. Like we know that it's fucking suspicious. The cameras just went down magically. The 2 security guards fell asleep, and we kind of just don't talk about it anymore.
There's different theories. There's theories that like he's still alive, and he's alive because he's outing.
He's hanging out with Tupac
buddies. He's hanging out with no, but he's like he's kind of like he's singing, all the names to like the Fed, right? But then there's theories that it's like, he died, he was killed, and like conveniently all the cameras went out at the right time. It's got to be like one of the two,
But But if you're, I'm not, and again, I hate her, but if you're Hillary Clinton and she has a lot of power, she has a lot of friends, you know that everyone who ever speaks out against her and her husband, like, the rape stuff, they all commit suicide days before trial, which one would have been suspicious. At this point, I'm very surprised that as a country, everyone's like, wait a second, what the fuck's happening here? So someone like that who has the resources to do that, you think really a guy that if he sings, he'll bring everything down. You really don't think that they have the ability to get him offed and conveniently fuck with the cameras?
Yeah, Hillary Clinton totally has the ability to go like kill Jeffrey Epstein in his whatever maximum security prison.
I don't think he was maximum security, right? Because he could see out the window. I think it was in the city.
He got a window.
Yeah, he was one of those because he wasn't. I don't know. I think they didn't want to put him somewhere where somebody might kill him.
Oh, well, oops.
Someone did.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm kind of a newbie into all this stuff. Like before quarantine, I was like not interested at all. I was like not even interested in politics. I was like really kind of like numb to all of it, I was like, yeah, I guess I'm a libertarian. I don't know. But like ever since quarantine, I'm like going in and I'm like, oh, this is why everybody fucking hates the Clintons. It's like they're so corrupt.
Well, the Clintons are very corrupt. That's true. But again, be careful, Chrissy. Don't fall for the trap of you're in quarantine and then all this shit comes to you and you're like, this has to be real. Because a lot of it is nonsense. A lot of it is just crazy shit, like kind of lines that don't really exist. But if you think about it, it makes sense that they would. So that's when you get into that trap of everything is you're going to turn into that guy down the street, fucking, downtown, New York with a sign that says, the end is coming. The aliens are here. So we have to be very careful. Like,
the aliens have been here for a minute, like the government's just keeping it from us.
The aliens, I don't know if the government's keeping from it or if they have any. The aliens are very confused about it.
Yes, it's proven that the aliens have visited us. They just released like a few weeks. What was it, last week? The government released like the videos of like the pill size.
Yeah, those been around for years, ships. And the government said that they were fake until now. I'm not saying I don't believe in it. What I'm saying is I don't necessarily believe the relationship we have. Like, I don't know if the government really knows. Like, they might have videos like everyone else has, but I don't know if they have contact. To actually have. Because I don't know what it is.
I think they have made contact. I think after we dropped the nukes in Japan, I think again, like there's so many things you can watch, but I think like the aliens became concerned with us because we're like, oh, wow, we have the power to like not only destroy each other, but like fucking if we send a nuke into space, like that's going to be pretty devastating. There's stories out there that like we have copied like alien technology, alien like UFO technology that like we have basically created our own flying saucers and like that may or may not be used as a false flag. Again, like, I don't know. It's a lot. But yeah, never just believe it all. I'm with you on that. Like, don't just believe it all. You have to do your own research.
Because I love aliens. Aliens and time travel, that's my jam. That's what I really love. Yeah, but I'm thinking, because a good theory about aliens would be that it's us from the future, like another dimension type of shit. That's pretty cool. But the alien thing that fucks with me is like, why would... It doesn't make sense. Like, let's say if they've been here for so many years, why the fuck would they still have these random sightings? Like, what are they still looking into for us? And also, why is it that when everyone got camera phones, and now we have cameras, like they're readily available, everything's taping, we don't have any more fucking sightings. Like before everyone's talking, I saw fucking flying saucer, I saw this, I saw that. And then now that everyone's got a fucking camera on them, you never get good footage of a fucking alien. That's suspicious.
Like there's still plenty of people having plenty of sightings. There's like particular hot spots. Like I know definitely in this country where there's like tends to be like a lot of sightings, but I just don't think like they get much pull in like news coverage. You're just like, oh, you're crazy, but it's like they're real, man. They're real, man.
You know what's crazy? It makes you think. So you ever heard of that guy Bob Lazar?
Yes, I was just gonna bring him up.
Okay, I'm glad you're gonna bring him up because the craziest thing that he said, and again, it makes me happy because I love time travel and I love aliens. Is someone was Rogan, I think, was asking him, how old? Like, where did you guys find the pieces of this craft or whatever? And he goes, oh, I think it was part of an archaeological dig. So this isn't anything new that we found in the 70s or anything. The craft that the technology is so far advanced we still can't analyze it was part of an archaeological dig, which means that it was buried there for thousands of years. So it's something from... So that to me, that's like, oh, fuck, that is a movie.
That's fucking crazy. That's
You got to
really
make that
cool.
movie. you got to make that movie about the aliens and all that. That's a cool fucking story. Now, whether it's real or not, who the fuck knows, right? He could just be crazy, or it could be bullshit, or he could be right. But either way, I think there's a fucking book there, a book or a movie.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And people go, oh, why is Bob Lazar, like, why hasn't he been killed at this point if he knows this much and he worked in the government on making, trying to make copies of these ships, like, why isn't he, and he sort of like blabbed about it. Why is he still alive?
He did blab, yeah.
Some people think he's an alien. It's like,
have you seen those videos, Chrissie, where it shows someone like on the news? It's like, look at his eyes. He shifts into a reptile. You fucking... Well, why wouldn't they just get a human to do it? Why would they dress up a reptile to be on the fucking news? What are we talking about?
That's what seems far-fetched to me, is the lizard people part of it all. Like, I'm just like,
But that's what I'm saying. It's difficult. It's a slippery slope, because if you fall too deep into it, then you start accepting that as well, because you're like, well, it's part of the whole ethos. It's part of everything here. So I'm gonna and that's just, to me, the most ludicrous thing, a shape-shifting reptile. Like, guys, what would be the point? Why wouldn't the shape-shifting reptiles just take over and then shift back to being reptiles and be like, yo, we're in charge?
If I were a shape-shifting reptile, I would just shape-shift into like a super hot, skinny model.
And do whatever you want.
And I would stay that way. I would just...
Why would Hillary Clinton, if she could shape-shift, why would she look like Hillary Clinton?
Why would she stay looking like she does?
Yeah, it doesn't... it doesn't make any sense. That's what I'm saying. Be careful of that. But the alien stuff, I'm glad you're into this shit. The alien stuff...
it makes me want to learn more,
I've been there's this guy Graham Hancock. I've been listening to his audiobook Fingerprints of the Gods, and it's all interesting shit, man, about how they would find stuff in, like, you find stuff in archaeological sites where you're like, how the fuck did they figure this out? And then they always blame people from outer space. They always blame people from the heavens, and you're like, fuck, man, I don't want to say it's aliens, but these guys are saying that it was aliens.
Yeah.
So that's always fun. I love that shit.
I wonder, like, I don't know, if I had an alien, like, interaction, I would be like, what do you want? I'll blow you. I'm really good at it. I don't know. Like, I would try to be ready for whatever. Be like, I'm friendly. Like, I feel like aliens could sense, like, I think the aliens are concerned about nuclear war. I think they're probably worried about that.
I don't know. Then I think we wouldn't have nukes, right? If they have the ability to fuck with us to that level, why would they let us have nukes? That's why I'm saying a lot of it is far-fetched.
I don't think the aliens are fucking with us. I think they just like sort of like checking in. Like, they see a huge explosion. They're like, whoa, what's going on here?
All right. So then what about all the people that say they got abducted? Why are aliens obsessed with our assholes?
Humans are obsessed with our assholes.
Right. But why are aliens obsessed with it too? And why don't they take our biggest assholes? Why are the Hillary Clintons still here? You have a giant asshole. Just take her with you. Right. It doesn't make sense. Why would they, like, how many assholes do you need to inspect before we're like, all right, we know what's going on down there?
They could inspect mine. I bet an alien could just give you an orgasm by, like, touching your head.
I don't know if they're sexual beings. If they exist the way, like, I've read, like let's say Bill Cooper was talking about, like, Project Bluebeam and all this shit. They said that they weren't from another planet. They were interdimensional or extra-dimensional beings. So they did dimensional travel to be here. So it's not like a case of we live on Mars and we flew here. Their ships are crossing dimensions. And yeah, so that's why it's like time is weird for them. It's different than it is for us. And they never talk about sexual organs. Like, they always look like how us now, we're doing a lot of stuff where you kind of don't need to have sex to have a kid, right?
Yeah, like humans are moving in that direction where we kind of like are less and less interested in sex, and like we're more about like, yeah, like you can make kids in a petri dish.
In a petri dish. So imagine these guys having like a couple of 1,000-year head start.
Yeah.
And they're like, we don't need to fuck.
We don't need to fuck. That's so sad.
It is. It's fucked up also that we started this whole conversation talking about podcasts and comedy, and what we're in, and we went to pedophiles.
We did. We got there.
And we're at aliens. This is going to be a very hard podcast to describe. What did you guys talk about? You have to listen.
Like all the topics, just real generally. Yeah.
But are you excited to get back on stage, or do you want to continue doing podcasts for a bit and kind of work this muscle?
I definitely, the answer is definitely both. You got to look for the positive in everything, every situation, everything that happens. So you have to look at like what's good about this, like what's the blessing here, right? So it's like, I got my sort of my mic. I'm gonna get a better camera. I'm gonna keep up my podcasting, and it's cool. It's like now I know I can get certain like pretty good people to Zoom with me, whereas before it's like they'd be, what, Zoom? That's weird. No thanks. I'm in LA. I'll see you whenever. It's like now you can actually like get these people that are across the country, and it's really doable. So I'm gonna keep that up, and then also like really try to get back into live shows and just keep up both.
Just get to the festivals, I guess, when they start up again.
I think so. Yeah. Like I've never been to JFL, but it's like it's also kind of less important than it used to be. And
what about Skank Fest? Are you invited to that?
I'm not invited to that.
Because if you invited that, I think they're still doing that in September.
Yes. Yeah. I mean that'll be great for whoever that's in Texas.
Yeah. JFL moved it from July. They tentatively put it to end of September, beginning of October. But again, these are the things that I don't understand people are doing. I don't know if they did it as a kind of, look, we tried our best to move it and then it won't happen. Because what I think about is, let's say me and you, we're happy to go back on stage, which I am. Yeah. I'll go on stage fucking tonight. Does that mean that we're going to get enough people that are willing to come out to watch the shows?
Yeah, it's like how many of your fans are nervous people, and it's like you never know that. Like if all your fans are a pie chart, like okay, you have to think like some portion of these people are like like maybe half are genuinely worried that there's gonna be some like second wave or whatever, or that it can come through the air, and now it was just put out there that like, oops, it's not real. You can't really get it from surfaces anymore.
Yeah, I saw that shit too.
Well, Jesus Christ, yeah.
You keep moving the goalpost. What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
And then remember a while they were saying it's through farts? There was an article that we believe it's transmitting through farts. I was like, you guys are fucking with us right now. Like, You're just playing games. You're trying to see how far you can take it.
You're trying to get us to stop farting in each other's mouths. And I don't appreciate it.
Yeah, just against that. But
Can't take that away from me. Yeah.
A lot of it seems like they're trying to see how far they can take it before we just are like, all right, listen, now they're fucking with us.
Yeah, they've been fucking with us. It's too much. It's like, I am so worried about New York City. I feel like it's going to shrivel up like to just like a fraction of what it was. Like so many businesses are going under.
Same.
Like I keep hearing like fucking homeless people are taking over the outdoor seating at all the restaurants. Like they're just fucking in the subways for free. They're all over. Like, I don't know. Like most small businesses don't have 2+ months of money saved up just to like pay rent and not make any money. So it's like, I'm so concerned. It's really worrisome.
It's the same thing here. The difference, the bad thing for you guys, and you're kind of right to bring it up, is the population too. It's so big. What are people going to do? Just if all these restaurants close and there's not enough jobs left. So let's say if all the waitresses lose their jobs, even if they go to another restaurant that works, they can't all get hired, right? Mm-hmm. So what are people going to do? They're going to start moving out of New York.
Away.
They moved into.
Oh yeah, there's going to be a mass exodus of New Yorkers to the South, like North Carolina. Yeah, for sure. A lot of people are like waking up like, oh shit, I can get so much more. Like, I mean, it's always you could get more for your money out of New York, but I think people are just gonna be like, yeah, it's not worth it, like to schlep into the city and just like for the situation that it's in now. People are realizing like, oh, I can do my work remotely. I can work kind of anywhere. I don't really need to like come into New York City to do this, except if you're a comic, right? So.
Well, are you, for example, now I know the Compound Media have the Wet Spot, but are you going to start let's say a consistent Chrissie Mayr podcast off Compound Media that you'll be doing simultaneously?
Yes, and I had started one a few months ago. Like I started one after I started doing the Wet Spot, and then as soon as quarantine happened, I like let it I was like slacking on it because I just was like, oh, I don't know what to do. But then just this week, I taped maybe 10 podcasts. I did so many pre-tapes this week. Good. So I'm going to try to keep it up like where I'm releasing like 2 or 3 episodes a week. And like, because before the quarantine, I was releasing like 1 a week. So I at least want to keep that up. So I'll have like my own podcast. I'll have the Wet Spot going, and then, like live shows.
Because you should do kind of what Aaron and Gino did, the Patreon stuff, or at least, even if you always just drop it on YouTube and all the, let's say the other audio platforms. Because like I said, because of Rogan, because he set a price point, it's going to be easier for you if you have fans. Look, this is my demographic. I have this many fans. It could even start local. It could be like fucking a pizza shop in Manhattan that wants to open up again. And they're like, yo, I need to advertise. Because even Theo Von, a lot of his initial was just, what was it, Gray Block Pizza or whatever the fuck. So it doesn't matter what it is. People want to associate with something, with a character, with a person that has a following.
Yeah.
This is our time now. It's our time now to work harder and build that. So no matter what happens in the future, let's say stand-up doesn't go the way we want, it doesn't come back as strong, there's a few lull months, at least if you could supplement some of the revenue in another way and continue connecting with your fans and doing that, we could ride this wave out a bit. But I'm telling you, the guys aren't putting the effort in and they're just waiting for it to come back. Fuck, man, they're going to eat a dick soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting bad.
Yeah, you need to be like supplementing with some kind of online content. Yeah.
I'm a month away from my OnlyFans.
Yes, about once a day. Somebody's like, "Where's your OnlyFans?" And I'm like, "Ugh, I don't know if you guys really want to see this."
But OnlyFans is it's 100%. It's just for porn, right? It's just for naked pictures and videos.
Pretty much, yeah. Whatever is like too scandalous for Instagram.
Okay, but then can people take your photos from there and then share them?
Absolutely. And I've seen friends of mine naked photos from OnlyFans. Like random dudes have sent them to me, and I'm like, "Why are you sending me this?"
These are comics.
Yes, yeah, that's my fear. It's like my nudes are gonna get leaked.
Wait, how many comics are doing OnlyFans?
Nudes were leaked.
Karen Fian, I've heard of her. I never met her, but I know who she is. I've heard of her. I've seen her, I think, on Kumia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. She was doing an OnlyFans.
She had an OnlyFans account. Yeah, she was big. She hosted a show at the Stand every Monday with Aaron Berg, and she joined OnlyFans. And, people are leaking her nudes. So.
Oh shit.
I worked on that. Yeah.
Is there money in it though? Are people signing up for OnlyFans?
Yeah, people are paying their rent with OnlyFans.
Get the fuck out of here!
If you're a chick who's hot, you can make sick money. You can make. It's so tempting because it's like I have bills too. So, but it's like, ugh. I also feel like I'm just 10 pounds away from really being in my OnlyFans shape, so.
And then, you don't want those photos. They're going to stay on the internet forever.
I don't know. I have to be discount muffin top photos. I don't know.
Yeah. You're like, for the next month until I do enough squats, you're getting everything at 30% off.
Yeah. Yeah. Once I lose this weight, then I'm jacking up the prices. You motherfuckers.
Fuck, comics are getting into OnlyFans. That's fucking amazing. All right. Well, Chrissie, I'm going to send everyone, if they look at the description right now, chrismayr.com. They're going to go to Compound Media for the wet spot. All of your social, Instagram and Twitter is all in the description right now. Chrissie Mayr everywhere, pretty much. You got the good stuff. Personally, I couldn't get Pantelis.
And I have my Chrissie Mayr podcast is all up on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes. It's all over.
It's all over. And they're going to check out the second you start getting back into live shows. Hopefully they catch you around the country. And as for us, hopefully I see you when I'm back down in New York. We'll get you on 2 drink minimum.
Yes.
And you stay healthy. And check out Chrissie Mayr.